Thank you, and I hand over to Secretary-General Grynspan, please. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to the lead negotiator for his remarks, and thank you to the presidency of COP that together with the UNDP and UNCTAD is launching this big fit initiative, the Baku Initiative on Climate, Finance, Investment, and Trade. And as both of my colleagues were saying before, you know, the fight against climate change is in a pivotal moment. The science is clear, the urgency is undeniable, and the window for action is closing if we really want a better life for the majority of the population of the world. And in the middle of all that, we need to have policy coherence, and that's what this initiative is about. We need that what we do in trade is not against what we do in climate, and what we do in financing is not against what we do in trade. So we need trade, finance, and climate policy to come together. And as we say very often, trade has to be part of the solution, not a problem, but part of the solution. So here we have also our colleague from WTO, and WTO and ITCs are also supporting this initiative. Now, why do we say this? And I think that Achim said this very well. You know, the finance that is getting to the least developed countries, to the small countries, to the most vulnerable countries is very little. You know, if you take the direct investment or the foreign direct investment into these countries in the renewable, as Achim was saying, for example, for renewable energy, these countries are receiving, Africa is receiving, you said, between 1% and 2% of the total foreign direct investment that is going to renewable energy. And so obviously something different has to happen for the countries where the investment is needed most to be able to attract this investment. And for that, we have always said that we need a reform of the international financial architecture. We need the multilateral development banks to come in, to take more risk, to crowd in private investment, and to be able to direct these resources to the countries that need them most at the right cost. Because part of the problem that we have in most of the developing countries is that they can finance themselves at very high interest rate, at a very high cost of capital. And the high cost of capital is an impediment for these countries to really make the green transition happen and the investments that they need happen. We know that the needs of investment for the sustainable development goals of the developing world has gone up, not down. When we started in 2015, we needed $2.5 trillion in investment. Now we need $4 trillion in investment. And the most we delay the action, the more costly and more expensive it will be. But let's go to trade, for example. And here we were saying today that also we have trade practices that perpetuate unsustainable patterns. For example, clean energy technologies face tariffs that are on average 2 times as high as those that affect fossil fuels. So Achim is absolutely right. You were talking about subsidies, you know, 7 trillion according to the direct and indirect effect of subsidies on fossil fuels, but also in trade. We have higher tariffs for clean technologies than for fossil fuels. So we don't have leverage a playing field for the new technologies to really to thrive. And we need this green transition also to dynamize growth. Because right now, the world is in a new, what we call a new low normal, where growth is below 3%. And that's not enough to fight poverty and inequality in the developing world. So if we want to dynamize growth and have higher and sustainable growth, we need trade and investment, and we need the green transition to really make this happen. So that's why we say trade, investment, and finance has to come together. We have to have a policy coherence framework that will make these three very important elements for the future of the global economy to really look for the synergies and allow the developing countries to thrive and grow appropriately. Now, what are we going to do within the big fit? So in our case, UNCTAD will work with the sustainable investment community, including sovereign wealth and public pension funds, green bond markets, and sustainable stock exchanges to ensure that their many trillions in assets under management can play a role in achieving the SDGs and ensuring sustainable energy for all. And so we will work on the trade side to make trade part of the solution, and we will work on the investment side to really be able to have a sustainable investment, the investment community to come together. But one of the things that we have to fight, and I want to make this my last point, is that we need to bring back trust in the sustainable funds. You know, one of the things that we discovered in the World Investment Report of last year, in 2023, is that the sustainable funds saw a decline of 60% of new funds. 60% decline of new funds coming into the sustainable funds. And why? Because the investors lost trust that the sustainable funds were really sustainable, that their investment was not greenwashing, but was really going to the green, to the right places and the right sectors. So we need to fight greenwashing. We need to bring back trust. We need to bring back the knowledge of what is happening in the investment community, and we need to strengthen the trust of the investors in the sustainable funds so we can work with them and make those funds go to the right places where they are needed most and to the right sectors that really will help to bring the green transition that we are all talking about here in COP29. So again, thank you very much to Azerbaijan for bringing us together for this initiative, and let's work together to have policy coherence and to help those parts of the world that cannot make it happen alone, but need the solidarity and the cooperation with the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General.